everybody, happy Pie Day. In celebration of it being Pie Day today, we're actually going to be making a keto raspberry lemon meringue pie. We're going to be starting with the raspberry curd filling. It's very similar to a custard, but it's made out of raspberries, of course. And I'm going to be showing you guys how to make that. You're going to want to start with 2 cups of raspberries. I have already washed and measured my raspberries out and put them in a pan because we're going to be boiling them down. We're going to start by adding 15 drops of liquid stevia. You can find this at pretty much any store. It's liquid sweetener, 0 calories. You can actually get these in a lot of different flavors. I just get the original flavor. It honestly doesn't taste like anything. And I find that I can put it in a lot of other things. You can get chocolate flavored, caramel flavored, berry flavored. So if you want to make it more berry, you could add a berry one and it would help improve the flavor of berries. I'm gonna start by turning it onto medium-low heat. And we're just gonna add 15 drops. Now be careful because some of these, it can come out really quickly. So try and drop them in slowly. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, okay, we ended up with 17 there because out of habit I shook it a little bit to get the rest off. We're gonna put those there, and then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of lemon zest. I already got the lemon zest off, but you can get a specific tool meant for getting lemon zest, or you can just do what I did, and I actually just used a small cheese grater and used that to get the lemon zest off. It worked fine, it just took a few minutes. So we're gonna put that in. We also are going to add a tablespoon of lemon juice. So I just squeezed the lemon out of the fresh lemon, and we got exactly a tablespoon from half a lemon, which is perfect. We're just going to mix it up, and once the raspberries get warmer, they're going to start breaking down, and we want to make it into more liquidy. So we're going to raise the heat a little bit to just above medium. So you can tell that they are definitely breaking down more. And they're getting very soft. So I just take a spatula and just start breaking them in half as they're softening. And it'll help speed the process up. But you can see a lot of raspberry juice is coming out now. This smells so good. I love the smell of raspberries. I don't like the taste of raspberries on their own. My favorite is either with white chocolate or dark chocolate. I think they taste the absolute best. But raspberries and lemon taste really good too. We're just about done. We're going to turn it up a little bit more to get them heated to a boil. We want to get them to a boil, and then after they've been at a boil for about a minute, we're going to reduce the heat and simmer it for 5 minutes, and it'll start to thicken up a little bit. So as you can tell, the raspberries are pretty much broken down. You can see the seeds everywhere, but they are just about a liquid. Make sure you continuously stir them, because if you leave them stagnant for too long, they can burn, and then it won't taste very good, obviously. While it's doing this, I'm actually going to add a splash of vanilla as well. I just really love adding vanilla to everything. And I think vanilla and raspberries will be a really good combination. So the timer has gone off, and the raspberry mixture, well, this part of the raspberry mixture is done. So what we're actually going to do is take a strainer like this, and we're going to actually process this through to get all the seeds out, since we don't want to put the seeds in our pie, obviously. So we're just going to spoon it into here. Just any other bowl will work. And just make sure you scrape it down the side so you get all of it in here. You want to take the spatula and just stir it around to get as much of the juices out as possible. It will take a few minutes to get everything out, but I promise it's worth it. So now we've got like a paste left here. I have no use for it, so I just throw it away. I'm gonna put it over the pot, and I'm actually going to strain it back into here to make sure I didn't miss any seeds. So we're just going to mix it in, make sure everything came out. And this will just take another minute, but you really want to make sure it's as smooth as you can get it. So I think it's definitely worth the time. And I definitely did miss a couple seeds that snuck through, so I just like to scrape the underside as well to get whatever's dripping off there. So now we have the raspberry liquid. There's no seeds or anything, and so now we're actually going to add powdered sweetener. If you've watched my previous videos, you see that I prefer to use the confectioner's Swerve. It is powdered erythritol with flavors. It has 0 everything, which is perfect for the keto diet, and I love the taste of it. In this, we're going to use half a cup. A little bit less. If you don't like things as sweet, or you like things really sweet, you can add more or less depending on your preference. So we're just gonna mix the sweetener up really well. It can get a little clumpy, so make sure you thoroughly mix it. Now you can see the sweetener is pretty much blended well. And so we're going to set that aside, and we'll come back to that in a minute. So we're going to be making the rest of the filling now. So what you want to start with is get 4 eggs, and you want to separate them. I've gone ahead and separated them already so I didn't make a mess. You're going to want to start with 4 egg yolks. Take the 4 egg yolks and make sure they're ready to go. Set aside the egg whites because you'll need those for the meringue part. Now you want to take 1 teaspoon of gelatin powder and add it to 2 tablespoons of water. You want to mix it really well, and you'll end up after a few minutes with a solidified gelatin mix. You want to take that gelatin mix and you want to scoop it out and add it to your egg yolks. Make sure you get all of it. It'll be a little clunky at first, but once you mix it into the egg yolks, it'll all dissolve together. So mix really well. And it'll almost look like you added sugar to it, which is completely fine. If you mix it really well, you'll see that everything's pretty much blended together, and that step is done. Next, you want to come back to your raspberry mixture, and you want to turn it on to medium, just below medium heat, and you're actually going to be adding your egg yolk and gelatin mixed to your raspberry curd. This is going to be what makes it more of a custard-like, as well as it'll be more jelly, so it'll hold together. Take this and scrape it into here. And then mix well. So you have to make sure you keep an eye on it and you keep it moving. You want to stir this and keep it on the heat until bubbles start to form. And once the bubbles start, you want to cook it for 1 more additional minute. And then take it off the heat. After you take it off the heat, you actually want to get 1 tablespoon of butter and add it, mix it really well, make it smooth. So So we're just gonna keep stirring this for a minute. It looks so good already. I'm excited for this. Okay, so it's been a minute and it is bubbling. We're gonna turn the heat off. Give it a good stir, and then we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of butter. And we're gonna mix that up really well until the butter is fully melted and incorporated into the mix. Almost looks like blueberries were in here instead of raspberries. Now, you can use strawberries, you can use blueberries, you can use blackberries. Any berry you would like will work in this recipe. You don't have to change any of the amounts, you don't have to change anything, just the berries. Everything will prepare the same way. It'll just taste like a different berry, obviously. So that is fully mixed now. And here's the next step. So, we have removed it from the heat, and now we're just going to pour it into a regular bowl. Just give it a little mix in there, scrape all sides out. And we're just gonna let this cool down for a minute. Then we're gonna take some plastic wrap and we're going to very tightly secure it over the bowl before it's completely cooled. And this will help prevent any sort of skin forming on top. I ended up actually putting an elastic around to make sure this stayed as firm as possible. And you can see it's a little wiggly inside, but this should help prevent a skin forming on top. So what we want to do next is we want to refrigerate this for 1 to 2 hours. Next, we're actually going to be making the pie crust while we wait for the raspberry curd to get cold. So I'm just going to be using a disposable pie plate. You can use any kind of pie pan, pie plate. You can make more of like a tray. It's up to you. If you make it with a tray, you will end up with it being smaller. So we're going to use a 9-inch pie plate. So you want to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. And you're going to want to start by mixing all your dry ingredients together. So your dry ingredients will consist of 1 1/3 cup almond flour. If you've watched my previous videos, you know that this is my favorite type of almond flour to use. I get it at Walmart and I love it. So you want 1 cup and 1/3. You want to get a 1/4 cup of whey protein powder. This is Isopure Whey Protein Isolate. It's pretty much the same thing. This has no flavor in it, so you can put it in just about anything. You want a 1/4 cup of that. You also want a 1/4 cup of the powdered sweetener. Okay, so we have our almond flour, our protein powder, our powdered sweetener in. We're going to take a spatula and just combine the dry ingredients until they are mixed together well. Then we're going to add 1 egg. And it'll start to get a crummy texture. And then you want to take 2 tablespoons of butter, melt it, and add it to the mixture. Pie crust pastry mix. So make sure you mix it really well. And I'm going to actually just lightly spray my pan with some olive oil because I don't like it getting stuck, which happens very frequently with me. And then we're going to just scrape it off, and we're gonna flatten it into our pie pan. so now we have a wonderful looking smooth pie crust. We're going to make some little stabby pokes in the bottom to help prevent it from rising up. You want to do this with any pie crust. You don't want to do this with graham cracker crust, but any pastry crust you want to, because it does have the ability to rise and it can make quite a mess. We're just going to put it into the oven for about 12 minutes just so it can brown and be ready to be cooked. So the pie crust is done. I don't know if you can tell, but it is browned around the edges and it is nice and soft and cooked in the middle, and it looks so good. So we're gonna let the custard sit for about another 45 minutes or so, and then we're gonna finish the pie. This is how our pie crust set. It is now completely cooled, and it is softer in the middle and then crispy on the outsides. It'll get a little more baked when we are finishing the pie in the oven, so there's no concern about that. Okay, so it is now time to finish the pie. We are going to start with taking our egg white. Remember, we have 4 egg whites here, and we used the 4 yolks in the custard mix. And we're going to be adding about 1/4 teaspoon cream of tartar into our egg white mix. And then we are actually going to whisk our egg whites together to make them light and fluffy. We're going to start mixing this really well. Now once you can tell it is starting to get frothy and thicker, add 1/3 cup of powdered sweetener. Our stiff peaks have definitely formed, and we are ready to finish the pie now. So you want to take it out, and as you notice, we still ended up with a little bit of a skin on top. We're just gonna mix it up a little bit, and we're ready to put this on our pie. We're just gonna pour it into here. You just want to smooth it and even it out all around. You want to take your egg white mixture and just put it on top. You don't want to mix it in. You just want to place it on top, basically. And then just push it around. Get it so that it covers all of the raspberry mixture. And then sometimes people like to kind of just pop the tops up. You put it in the oven, it'll be a little more brown on certain parts. There we have it. It is now ready to go into the oven. You want to preheat your oven to 320 degrees. And we're gonna bake it for about 18 to 20 minutes. So here is the final product for the raspberry lemon meringue pie for Pie Day. I hope you guys enjoyed my tutorial on how to make this pie, and I hope you enjoy making it at home. And please leave in the comments how it went. You can find the recipe posted below on my website, and enjoy!